Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Two Down Territory. I'm Jonathan, joined by Adam, and we're going to be going through the happenings in the NFL, including three things that we both were right about and three things that we both were wrong about.
Yeah, I think this is going to be fun. I think doing this relatively early in the season is basically a way for us to say what are the takes that we had in the off season and preseason that we're really starting to get worried about, and what are the ones where it's like all of our biases have been confirmed. At least for me,
Yeah.
I'm not completely out on some of these takes. Some of them it's like, okay, this is not going to happen. But yeah, I'm excited to get into it.
I think that there goes the poster.
I was about to say, like, over under Peyton Manning falling 10 minutes.
That's impressive. We love it. It's just 1976 prominently displayed.
My goat.
Dude, it's him. It's him.
My goat.
I
No,
have
get
him
me outta
behind
here.
me as well. I have an actual signed photo of him, so suck it.
Already.
No, I think that we should start off by talking about how amazing I am at predictions and how I have basically, well, literally completely tied it up in our point system after being in a huge hole.
Okay, so I have a few things to point out. The only reason I'm in a hole is because of the freaking Rams-Eagles game, where I was pretty much correct, except for 2 block field goals. So get out of here. I blew it. This is not you coming back. This is me having a 4-point week. And the fact that I had a 4-point week and we're tied, I think that says more.
Well, that's fair. And to be clear, your 4-point week was last week or
It was.
2 weeks ago. This most recent week, you did have 10 points. It's just that I had 12, thus tying up the season total at 44 points.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, this was actually the first week where you by far got way more game predictions correct.
Pretty much every
Basically,
single one we disagreed with. Like we
yeah,
disagreed about.
I think
right.
literally every game we disagreed on, you were right. It just so happened that my upset outright prediction of the Steelers beating Minnesota in Dublin gave me 5 points. So
Yeah. How many points did I get without, because my upset alert was Texans. Obviously that didn't work out. So like what was
yeah,
my
so
how
you
many predictions did I
lost
get right?
you lost a point for that. So you got 11 games correctly predicted.
Okay. Not bad.
As
I'm trying
compared to
remember
my 7.
Yeah.
But that is the power of the upset alert. And it
Really,
has,
that's what's showing me, because in the first 2 weeks I established this lead because I got my upset alerts right and you didn't. And then the last 2 weeks I've gotten them wrong and you've gotten them right, and now we're all tied up.
the upset alerts make or break your week. They really do.
It really does. I'm so excited about my upset alert.
I'm
It was
quite interested.
I saw it and I was like, this is ridiculous. So we'll
Okay.
get there when we get there, though.
Well, we can sort of, before we get right into our 3 rights and wrongs, was there anything outside of what you're going to talk about that stood out to you this last week?
Well, I mean, I think the obvious one is that for me as a fan, it's never been more over, and for you as a fan, you've never been more back, right? The
Yes.
Bengals looked terrible. Zach Taylor needs to get fired. Spagnola would be my dream head coach.
We've discussed this, yes. Yep.
That would be incredible. I don't think it's going to happen. Bengals are probably not going to fire Zach Taylor, but I think they should. I think he's lost control of the locker room at this point, and this is a hole that he can't bounce back
I
from.
mean, the
I
silver
hope they make the
lining to the
decision.
situation might be that this at least advances the fire Zach Taylor agenda. I mean, that might be the
Hopefully.
silver lining of this whole season. So
Hopefully, I just don't think that the Bengals are. I don't know. I don't have enough faith in them after the
No, I
Marvin
mean, they
Lewis
don't have a
situation.
track record of being eager to fire coaches.
Yeah. So
They're not really
that's
eager
okay.
to do anything in either
That's what
direction.
I was realizing. I think the Bengals' biggest flaw, top down, outside of the players, is just their reaction time to the data at hand is like so slow. Like in terms of their play calling, in terms of their like everything, like in terms of when they sign players, in terms of when they fire head coaches, in terms of every single aspect, they do it at the last possible second.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm not mad about it.
I mean, including just in their play in the last few seasons, trying to win at the last possible second to sneak into the playoffs because of slow
True.
starts.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
literally in
It's
every
like
aspect.
top
It's kind
down.
of wild.
It's ridiculous.
Um, I guess for me, if I was going to discuss something that didn't particularly correlate with anything I was going to talk about, it would be the Chiefs because we are so back. And in all seriousness, I don't
I'm
want
going to
to.
talk about that
Okay, well, so
too.
then
So,
I won't get too ahead of myself, but that was the best that I've felt about the offense in perhaps 3 seasons.
yeah.
And so
Yeah,
I'm going to ride that high at the very least until Monday night versus a pretty good defense in Jacksonville. So we'll see.
for sure.
So why don't we just
Other
go and
than
jump
that,
right into it?
I was just going to say, other than that, injuries, Tyreek Hill injury was
Ah,
horrific, but hysterical at the same
horrifying.
time. The juxtaposition between joy and like utter terror was crazy in that moment.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I was literally it was on the TV at the gym. I was mid set of some tricep pushdowns, and I literally had to stop my set and collect myself. It was so horrifying
It
to
was
look at.
graphic. And it was weird because I know a lot of people said like, "Oh, look, he just destroyed his leg." It was clearly his knee because his knee was like instead of bending like vertically, it was bending horizontally. It was like, "Whoa!" Every
Yeah, it
single
was.
aspect of his knee is broken.
No, well, that's what was wild is because typically, and it's to be clear, still horrifying when you see it, but when you see an injury like that, it's like
Yeah.
a flamingo, like the knee caves in on itself, but like the knee was just going a different
It
direction.
was just wrong. Which one thing we can talk about because obviously some other injuries. Malik Neighbors is out. Right?
Yes.
That's out for the season, which really sucks for the Giants after a great win against the Chargers. Which, by the way, and I will talk about this a little bit upcoming, but this is not that indicative of how the Chargers are as a team. It really is just sad in
No,
terms
and
of
I'm
like
going to
their
talk
AFC
about
West.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely not. The other thing too, is just like, when are we going to get on top of this whole like field turf thing? As an NFL, because that is something that like I don't know, is Big Turf running something?
You
It
might,
seems like there's some
I
sort
haven't
of
done enough
corporate
research.
something going
I,
on.
I, I mean, I think it might. I mean, it could be as simple as the greed of it's easier to maintain turf than actual grass, but it is weird. And I remember this discussion boiled over pretty heavily like 2 years ago, and
Yeah,
then nothing was done about it. And so I don't know. I mean, something would like all 22 players simultaneously on the field would have to like die due to the turf monster for the
I'm
NFL to
just
do
thinking
something
about like
about it.
because I remember because it was really aligned with like the whole hip drop tackle thing, which
Hmm.
don't even get me started about that because the reason why the hip drop tackle is dangerous a lot of the times is because they're on turf and their legs get caught. But that's
Yeah,
besides
and
the point. People don't want to talk
the
about that.
Aaron Rodgers injury, I think,
Yeah.
as well at
Yeah,
MetLife that
for
boiled
sure.
it over a
So
lot.
it was just anyway. But yeah, no, I think we can get right into it. And then also a lot of the stuff that happened this week we'll talk about whenever we do our predictions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do we want to start off on a positive note or a negative note?
I was thinking we would just go one by one and we can just kind of pick. If you want to start off on a positive note, though,
Cool.
spread positivity and love and joy and whatever.
Well, so this one will sort of be positive in light of, as you were just mentioning, some potential worry that I don't really think should exist. The first thing that I was right about is that the Chargers are for real.
100%. Yeah,
And let's be
they are.
clear, I think it's one of those things that I hate where it's like the narrative overtakes the actual take, to where the Chargers start off 3-0, 3-0 in divisional games, and then all of a sudden people who were completely out on the Chargers are discussing them as if they're like the dominant force in the AFC. But that's not the standard that the Chargers should have for
Mm-mm.
themselves. The standard that they've established through 4 weeks of the season, week 4 notwithstanding, is that they are a contender in the AFC West and a legitimate, hypothetical, not, some sarcasm intended, playoff contender. And
Yeah,
so what the Chargers did through 3 weeks, building themselves a divisional lead, even with the ding that they took on Sunday by losing a game to the Giants, I don't feel as if that takes anything away. And I don't see that as a sign of things to come for the Chargers or some sort of, season long collapse. The
right.
Chargers are there. I think it's pretty definitive at this point. I may believe this more heavily than you do. The AFC West is a two-team race to the Chargers and the Chiefs.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And that's kind of where, and like honestly, my first thing that I was wrong about is directly related to this debate that we had. I'm totally willing
Yeah.
to concede. The first thing is that I have to say about this is, to add context, the reason why the Giants were able to take down um, the Chargers, I think, is twofold. The first one is that Brian Dable is like a very smart offensive mind, and so it makes
Yeah.
sense that creating a new game plan about a quarterback where the Chargers as an organization doesn't really know exactly where this offense is going to go is going to lead to some sort of success, um, which
There's
it's
also a
not
very real, to
overwhelming
just to add
success.
on to that point with Dayball. I mean, in a sense, and this could be a larger discussion that we don't have to go down. Dayball in that game was kind of coaching for his
Yes,
job. Not that
100%.
he would, not in the sense that he would have been fired if they lost, obviously, but he had to put the best tape out there for Jackson Dart possible to prove that no matter how poorly the season goes record wise for the Giants, he should be given a second year to work with Jackson Dart. And
Yeah.
I don't think that the Chargers, and this isn't an excuse, had anywhere near that same level of urgency.
No, absolutely not. The other thing related to the defense, or really the offense of the Chargers, they were missing Mekhi Becton, and then Control Alt Delete got injured in that game, and so that makes a huge impact, especially when you are playing against a force that is the Giants' pass rush. This
Yeah.
isn't one of my things that I was right about, but that was something that we talked about, which is that consistently the Giants are going to have an advantage when it comes to their pass rush, and it showed. I mean, Sexy Dexy had an interception, right? Coming
That
off
was
the
pretty
backup
awesome.
right guard. So right where Mekhi Becton was. Like the Giants have the pass rush to be able to hold a team like the Chargers without their two best offensive linemen to around 20 points. And if you were to tell me that Jackson Dart in his first week with Brian Dable would be able to, score as many points as they did to get the win, that's not really surprising. So that's why it's like this doesn't have anything to do on the Chargers as a whole. The biggest thing that I want to talk about with the Chargers is just they've unlocked the passing game. We've talked about that in the past, which has led to a Quentin Johnson resurgence. He's played incredible through the first few weeks of the season. He figured out how to catch the ball. Keenan Allen looks revitalized with his old quarterback. Yeah, like the defense is what it is. It's what we expected. The offensive line is better than I expected without Rashawn Slater. Joe Alt is a big part of that. And then yeah, it's a total philosophy change to empower Justin Herbert and those wide receivers. And we have to take into account the fact that Ladd McConkey hasn't even really been used that much. So if they can start getting him
No.
going, that offense is going to be humming when they get those pieces back on their O line. And Amarian
Yeah, I
Hampton
mean,
has
the
looked great.
only other thing Yes, he has. I mean, the Joe Alt timeline for the injury, it is ultimately just an ankle sprain. Now, it's not a good ankle sprain. I mean, he's probably out for at minimum at least the next 2 weeks, but no more than 3 games missed, I would imagine. So, a tough break for the Chargers, but assuming he returns and regains his strength, I have no long-term concern about the Chargers' viability this season.
Yeah. And this conversation really leads directly into my first thing that I was wrong about, which is the Broncos' success. And I want to clarify because how you preface this segment originally, talking about this topic by talking about how our point was never that they would inherently win the AFC West, but that I believed that the Broncos would be the team competing with the Chiefs, and you believed it was the Chargers. And so what I'm wrong
Yeah.
about is that the Broncos are the team that's clearly competing in the AFC West. That is not the case. And it's really centered around Bo Nix. Their offensive line has looked great. Their defense has looked really good. Bo Nix is struggling. So Bo Nix has a PFF grade overall of 55. He has 7 touchdowns to 4 interceptions and a passer rating of 89.7. He's struggled. And, we've said this a lot. For me, it was just about, can Bo Nix in a great situation continue to be a mediocre competent quarterback? Apparently he hasn't been. And, I'm fully willing to admit that I was wrong to say that. And yeah, so like there's not really much to say about the Broncos. They destroyed the Bengals. That's not really impressive. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the Broncos, to me, again, like you said, and we've said many times on this show, it's the Bo Nix question. And so you were just slightly higher on Bo Nix. But when you're in a system that relies to me so much on the quarterback, not just in the NFL as a whole, but particularly the way that the Broncos offense, due to some deficiency in the weaponry, has to have bare minimum competent quarterback play. If I didn't think that they were getting it, which I didn't, that's the reason why I
Yeah.
believed the season would look like it's looked so far. A team that will probably win 7 games, but sneaking above 500 is going to be really tough for them.
I think they will. I still think they'll sneak above 500.
That's fair. That's fair. And we will
I
see.
I
We
mean,
will
I
see.
wouldn't be shocked if they're a playoff team still. But
Okay.
we'll have to
See,
see
that
how it
would be
pans out.
relatively surprising me. See, we're still holding on to some parts of this takes. And again, we're
No,
4 weeks in. You could
absolutely.
very well be right.
Yeah. Okay.
I
You want to
will
go
go
to your
ahead.
next thing?
Yeah. So I will give my first wrong. And I don't know if this will be one of yours. Um, my first wrong is that Baltimore would be the dominant force in the AFC.
That's one of mine. Yeah.
Yeah, so we can just go ahead and combine talk about this because we both had them
Yeah.
as the number 1 seed in the AFC.
Yep.
Uh,
I wrote down
to
Ravens winning the AFC.
yeah.
Yeah.
To me, I'm not holding on to specifically as much the seeding because that can vary so much. But the way that they've looked through 4 weeks, not even just the record, but purely the way it's looked,
Yeah.
combined somewhat with the injuries on defense. I think it's clear to say that the Ravens will at no point this season look like the dominant AFC team. They'll have some games where they'll still put up 40 points, as they've already done multiple times this season. But ironically, the times that they've done that, they've lost. And so
Yeah.
it's sad as a Lamar Jackson fan. And to be clear, he did not play well on Sunday against the Chiefs. So, but through the first 3 weeks of the season, really the only thing you could say is maybe he's holding on to the ball longer. But part of the reason he's holding on to the ball longer is because he's trying to make a conscious decision to put the ball down the field, and he's trying not to put hits on his body and protect himself, which is what you would ask out of most NFL quarterbacks. So I can't blame him too much there, but you can kind of go and take over and talk about your thoughts on why the Ravens are not looking nearly up to the standard that we thought they would.
Yeah. I think part of it is that, I mean, there's a few things. I think like because it's such a small sample size, you kind of have to look at each individual game.
Yes.
Um, right. And fortunately, from those games, you can kind of see like broad, big picture things that you can take away. The first one, you already hinted at it. I think Lamar Jackson is just holding on to the ball too long. I talked about this a little bit last week, but it seems like he's almost overcompensating for the, agendas that were pushed early in his career about how he's just like a glorified running back. Um, I think like it's okay for him to take off, right? I also feel like the offense, I I don't know. It seems to and I have no stats to back this up. It just feels like their run game is just not being prioritized as much as it has been.
No, I can
Even
back.
in
I let me go ahead and take over. I can back it up with the stack.
cool.
Derrick Henry ran the ball 4 times in the first half against the Chiefs.
Okay,
That's
well
the
there
only
you go.
stat that you need. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like Lamar Jackson as a passer is not gonna be like and like I'm trying not to take away from him, but like understanding who he was as a prospect and then where he's come, it's an incredible story of his progression, but like that doesn't mean that his skill as a pocket passer is up there with Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, those even Justin Herbert, Matthew Stafford, those types of quarterbacks. Like
Yeah.
what he's good at is establishing the run and using his legs as a threat, which then opens up the defense and creates, and then he can make reads from there. But if you take away the run game, he's kind of mitigated a little bit. And so and again, like I
Yeah.
also am a big fan of Lamar Jackson, so I'm really trying not to bash him. It's just that's just
No,
not
I
his
think that
skill
we and
set.
as I think we both said this on the podcast, I can't remember what context, but like Lamar Jackson, if he retired today, is a top
Would be
20 quarterback
yeah,
in NFL history and a Hall of
probably
Famer.
yeah.
He's won 2 MVPs.
Well, so the football gods decided to kick Jonathan from the broadcast, but uh to continue, I've had a few seconds now since he was kicked to really think. Really, what it boils down to is that if they can't establish the run game, they're not going to be able to compete against contenders. Right?
No.
And I think that it's as simple as that. That Lamar Jackson as a pocket passer is not good enough to run an offense through against contending level defenses where you have to put up that many points. Obviously the Brown game comes to mind because their defense is good, but again, we're talking about contenders here. I just think that it's as simple as that. As far as the defense goes, they've played some really good offenses. I also
They
think
have.
that Michael Orr's job is in question for sure because they should have the roster to be able to compete at least. But yeah, no, the Ravens,
Maybe
it's
maybe
tough.
not the
I'm
roster
sure
in
they're
its
still going to
current
win the
condition
AFC
right
North though.
now.
True. After yeah,
No, just to reiterate that point one more time, Derrick Henry getting the ball 4 times in the first half against the Chiefs is really ridiculous. I mean, this is, what do we know, my dad and I, but we're sitting on the couch
literally.
watching the game on Sunday, and every time Derrick Henry wasn't in the game, we just looked at each other and smiled
Yeah,
because, like, I mean, it's even just the threat of having Derrick Henry on the field. I mean, it felt like half of the snaps in the first half, he wasn't even in a package. Just the threat of Derrick Henry standing there, even if you have him in pass protection, is, I don't know. It just seemed something's up and funky there. And I know he fumbled more than he usually did through in the week 1, week 3 game. That's a silly narrative.
I
So,
agree. I
yeah.
agree. I
But you
think
can go ahead.
well,
Oh,
I was
go
just
ahead.
going to say the last thing I'll say about this is that I have to talk about the offensive line. The Ravens offensive line has not looked good. But also there's a certain aspect where Lamar Jackson isn't doing them many favors when in many times he does them a lot of favors. And so I don't think it's inherently, it's definitely way worse than his MVP campaigns, but not worse enough that I think that they shouldn't be contenders. Lamar Jackson seems like he's in his head, and we'll probably talk about it later, but that game too was just not the game for him to get his bounce back. That's why we both picked the Chiefs. Like, or at least that was the big
Yes.
reason why I picked the Chiefs, because Spagnuolo just knows exactly what to do. But yeah, we can move on to the first thing I was right about. Uh, the Lions' success despite the coordinator loss.
Yes.
This one
That's
I'm
a great
doing a
call by you.
victory laugh. A victory laugh.
You
A
could also
victory
do a
laugh.
victory lap.
I'm gonna be running around the lap and laughing. That was a weird thing to
Good
say.
one.
That was so awkward. uh, anyway, the point is though, is that I was right that the Lions would not, like their offense wouldn't inherently be hindered by the loss of their coordinators and their defense as well. I think that I've talked about this a lot. It really was the only worry I had about their team was their offensive line, and it's looked great. It honestly, it hasn't looked as good. But dude, Tate Ratledge has been dominating in the run game. Their rookie guard. And then Christian Mahogany has struggled at times. But he's starting to get his feet underneath him. Yeah, I think it's just as simple as when you take a deeper look into how the offense was created, you start to realize that Ben Johnson was just a piece in that, which again is not taking anything away from Ben Johnson, but rather just to say that, and another piece in that was their new offensive coordinator, John Morrison. And so when you take all of those factors into account, you start to realize that, maybe they won't be missing um, their coordinators as much as people think. And one of the big things that Dan Campbell always says is players over coaches. So I think that's been shown to be true. The roster is still incredible. And I also have to shout out Kelvin Shepard, who's their defensive coordinator, because he's putting on
He's
masterclasses.
awesome.
He's
He's
doing really
also
good.
from what I've seen, he's also a pretty fun personality on the sideline.
Yeah,
So,
former linebackers or
yeah.
former linebacker in the NFL, Lions linebacker coach, and really was, um, like Aaron Glenn, like basically trained him from the beginning of his career to do this job to eventually replace him. Is how that
Yeah.
relationship works. So, yeah, no, I was right. Everyone was wrong. Suck it, basically.
Well, since we kind of doubled up on that wrong there, do you want to go ahead and hit me with another
Sure.
thing you were right about?
Sure. The other one is, or the second one is another offensive line related take. The Texans struggled. Like, I know that they kind of dominated the Titans, and it's the Titans, but I think that
That's all you need to say.
clearly through the first, yeah, exactly. Through the first couple of weeks, we've seen that the Texans are not the team that we thought they were, and they're going to be struggling, I think, to win the AFC South because their offensive line is so bad. And also, like, to be clear, for 90% of that game, I was feeling good because like all they could do is score field goals. It was really at the end
Yeah.
when things started opening up. So like it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, no, they do not, no team can escape the 32nd best offensive line in the league, and the Texans are one of them. And yeah, it
Yeah.
was from the beginning
I mean,
of their offseason, it has been clear.
you kind of almost said it more optimistically. And this is one of those ones where I had other stuff I wanted to talk about, and I was pretty sure you were going to talk about it. So I don't have on my list of wrongs being picking the Texans to win the AFC South. But yeah, you were almost optimistic about the idea that they still hypothetically could. They're in such a
Yeah.
hole right now, and the way that they've
Yeah.
looked. I mean, I don't know what the active odds are right now. I mean, Vegas has been weirdly high on the Texans through the first
I
3
know.
weeks, and
I
then
know.
and then I'm almost upset because I feel like they're only going to be re-encouraged on the Texans because they beat up on the Titans.
Have you looked
And
at the odds
so,
this week? They're favored.
well, I'm aware.
But
It's
like they're only favored by 1.5.
yes, but they are playing the Ravens, and I get we just talked about the Ravens struggles, but
Oh, for
it's
some reason I thought you were implying that was like your upset alert.
No, 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 no. I'm
Oh,
just
okay, cool.
talking about Vegas in general being
Yeah,
high on the Texans for a reason that I will never understand with all
yeah,
of the information that we have so far. Point being, I'm backing up your idea and maybe even going a
yeah.
bit further where I'm almost ready to say that I'm out on the Texans this season.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And you're right. Like I was pretty optimistic compared to what I was. Literally, it was just because I didn't really believe that much in any of the teams in the AFC West, and so it was like historical
And they do
precedent
have a
says the
fantastic
Texans will be good.
defense.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but yeah, no one could have imagined that the Colts and the Jaguars were going to be as scary as they
Well,
look.
I will then talk about one of the very obvious of my three rights, uh, the Miami disaster.
Yeah,
And again, despite a win, it is a disaster. And
yeah,
it's not, to be clear, I'm not going to take credit, and I don't want to take credit for like predicting that Tyreek Hill was going to get injured and be very clearly out for the season. That wasn't part of any specific prediction, but the whole chain of events that this Miami season has been has only reinvigorated my fact that unless one of the other 31 NFL coaches commit a recorded felony, Mike McDaniels will be the first head coach
oh
fired
my
this
gosh,
season.
yeah, for sure.
Like if the Epstein list gets released sometime this NFL season and say, Matt LaFleur is on it, I still think that Mike McDaniels would be fired before Matt LaFleur. That's a very random analogy, but that's how confident I am that Mike McDaniels is
Oh
going
my
down first this
gosh.
season.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I've talked about it a million times. They've got one of the worst. The secondary is terrible. The locker room is utterly atrocious.
Oh, it's
Mike
terrible.
McDaniels turns into Edgar Allan Poe contemplating death every time he walks in front of a podium. it's it's I mean, it's a circus. Like
It
that's the
is.
thing that I don't like. The people talk about the Cowboys as a circus. And it's like it's a boring circus. It's the same thing every time. The Miami Dolphins are the actual circus. There's so much
Yeah.
going on
Well,
there.
and I have to give you credit too because you started formulating this take during the off season, right? When we did our off season grades
Early in the offseason.
early in the off season. I mean, same with me with the Texans, but that's besides the point.
Yes.
And like
Yeah. Talk your bag.
um I think but like you were just so early on it, and then as the weeks progressed, the more you thought about it. Like I don't really take credit for this take because you kind of put me on game, but I was like, yeah, you're probably right. And then um we just started putting the pieces together, and I pretty early on thought that Mike McDaniels, it's kind of over for him just because I didn't think he had control of the locker room. There were a lot of reports about like
Yeah.
just weird things that were happening, and so yeah, no. You've been on this from the beginning, and I applaud you because I think that you're
Thank you.
100% correct. But I
Thank you.
also
I
applaud
will.
me because I was very early on in terms of saying that Mike McDaniels has lost control of the locker room, and that's a big issue. And then
Yeah.
also,
Yeah.
dude, I just can't forget, dude, the Tyreek Hill just obliterating his leg and then being like,
I mean,
I saw this video of him celebrating, and it had like the "With everything that I have, praise the Lord" soundtrack, like Kanye in the background. I was like, oh my gosh.
has there ever been a greater indictment of a team than your star player getting horrifically injured and celebrating the fact that he won't have to be around the team?
Yeah, no, dude, and the memes that came out from that injury
That's an
was so
all-time
awesome.
NFL clip.
It was. It was in line with like the Antonio Brown leaving the field.
Yeah, like because of the persona that Antonio Brown became, that clip is even more legendary. But I feel
Obviously.
like this almost rivals it.
Yeah, for sure. In terms of like in the moment.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think The next one I'll do is something I was wrong about. So originally I had in just like the whole cult situation, but the truth is that like I don't know. I felt like it wasn't like a strong take that I said that the Colts were going to be bad. So like
Yeah.
it wasn't like that big of a like I don't know. I don't think anyone under like
I'm also
predicted.
still withholding judgment on the Colts. So, yeah.
Yeah. So what I decided to do is actually kind of recently, but what I was wrong about was the Chiefs, and more specifically, because last week I was really worried about after the Giants lost how the offensive line looked. And like I knew that the Giants offensive line or or sorry, Giants offensive line. The Chiefs offensive line looked. I knew that the Giants defensive line was good and the Chiefs obviously got the win. But I did have real struggles and concerns. Um but I've been doing a lot of thinking and a lot of talking really today. And I like pulled up the film, everything, and I realized that I have just not I like last week specifically, I miss the mark in terms of my faith in the scheme of Andy Reid because like it just goes to show that you bring Xavier Worthy in and that just opens up the scheme so much that even with the struggles of the offensive line with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, it just didn't matter.
Like you just need a guy who has something to bring to the table, and Andy
Yeah.
Reid can make magic out of it. And again, because I like Tyquan Thornton played really well filling in the holes, stepping up in weeks 2 and 3. Obviously one being a close loss to the
Eagles.
Eagles and one being a close win, close-ish against the Giants. And so there's plenty of guys on the roster where it's like, I don't want to beat them down because I am a Chiefs fan and I appreciate what they do. But I do think it really speaks to the minimal level of talent
Well,
that like the margins that the Chiefs in terms of roster construction operate at in the wide receiver room is so thin. And it's because when you see games like this, when you have the health of the guys that you are able to invest in, such as an Xavier Worthy and here soon Rashee Rice, you can make it work and make it look really good. But there is a major talent deficit after that, and I think this game proves that when you give Andy Reid a sliver of something to work at, when Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback, it can look like the best offense in the NFL.
yeah, and I wouldn't go that far, but I am willing to bash some Chiefs players. Kingsley Suamata-Ua still looked bad. Jawan Taylor still looked bad. I think that one thing that is also different is that even if when you look at like the entirety of the offensive line, it hasn't inherently gotten better, the impact of where the pressure is coming from is significantly better compared from last year to this year, which is something that I hadn't really considered. It's something that we talked about, but like my nerd brain just looking at the stats kind of took over, when in reality when you look at the context, like last year it really was just coming from the left tackle, and that's Patrick Mahomes' blind side, so of course he's not going to be as escapable, right? This time
Yeah.
it's coming from the right tackle, and then depending on the movement, generally from the interior, Josh Simmons has looked really good. And so basically what I'm saying
Yes.
is that I think that it's a mixture of the O-line did just play better, but then I think the biggest thing is that what Xavier Worthy did is it allowed for a scheme that can take pressure off the offensive line in the pass game, which is
Yeah.
not something that I was particularly thinking about, which is not just, like the obvious, like, ooh, bring in Xavier Worthy, he'll get open more, but rather that you can start integrating certain aspects of the offense based on the movement of the defense to account for that weapon. Which
Yeah.
Andy Reid is just a master at that, and understanding, what is the defense going to do in reaction to this, and what's the counter that we can put in place at the line of scrimmage in order to execute that and take advantage. The other thing too is that the run game just looked way better, not necessarily because they was, like the personnel played inherently better. The scheme was way better. You talked about how like all the counters and all the extra stuff that the Chiefs were trying to
That
do
was
earlier,
scrapped. It was beautiful.
completely taken out. Andy Reid was like, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take the ball and give it to this guy, and then this guy will run straight. You see that big fella right there?
Beautiful.
The big white guy and the big black dude, run between them.
I mean, yeah.
That's Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey, by the way.
Yeah, if you have Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith, probably smart to just run full steam in between the two of them.
Like, we're trying to make this third and manageable. You take the ball, immediately run straight. Like, we do not have to rely on your vision or lack thereof. Like, the play does not have to develop. Just run straight.
Yeah. And that is Pacheco, because once he gets ahead of steam, he can just like tumble his way, because his center of gravity is one of the strongest that I've seen for a guy of his size.
And, I've always liked Pacheco just for his effort. Like, I feel like through the mic, you can hear when you're watching the broadcast, you can hear him go.
Yes, you literally can.
You can hear him being like, ush, ush, ush.
But yeah, no, as soon as Xavier Worthy runs a jet sweep for 35 yards, the Chiefs won the game. Yeah. Like, you could see in that moment that from that exact point, the Ravens defense was on their heels, and the Chiefs scored on 8 of their first 9 drives before they took Mahomes out of the game. The one drive they didn't score was a missed field goal, and it was a weird thing because it was like a time issue. Like, if that was happening at any other point, we probably would have either gone for it or played differently. Like, the Chiefs moved the ball at will. Yeah. It was beautiful to watch. It was entertaining. Everything, at least compared to the first 3 weeks, looked synchronous. Yeah.
And the one thing I'll say too is it really pisses me off to watch that and then watch the Bengals offense, because it's like,
I don't even know what to say to that.
Like, just because, like, okay, obviously our offensive line is way worse, but just to see like a master at work understand how to produce an offensive scheme that takes so much pressure off the offensive line, and then see, like, I don't know, Zach Taylor.
That's what you're saying. And then to watch Zach Taylor
trying to throw an offense out there that looks just so stale and so just terrible, right? Like, so easy, so predictable, so puts all of the pressure on the offensive line. It's like I have never seen an offensive line poop their pants every time they see pressure, because they just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Like, they straight up do not know how to handle it. There is a clear lack of communication, right? Like, I don't know if it's Drake Browning. I don't know if it's Zach Taylor. I want to say it's Zach Taylor just because it's consistent throughout his regime. But, like, our quarterbacks are not prepared consistently to identify pressure and adjust to it.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I'm sorry for you.
Anyway, it's fine. Like, if Zach Taylor gets fired, it'll be cool. I'm just waiting for us to hire some bozo, though. It's okay, though. I'm
get a little out of yourself.
Whoa. I'm already ready, dude. Dude,
you're thinking of like the Bengals in like 5 years and
this
getting
is what the
pissed.
Bengals does to a man. This is what happens, dude. When Joe Burrow got injured, I was trying to be optimistic, and the exact thing I said was, I'm not going to follow in the steps of my forefathers and generations of Bengals fans. Screw that, dude. I am here. We are haters at heart. It's never been more over.
No, you're literally like at any given moment, you're thinking about, oh, I'm going to have to like make my kids watch this. That might be a crime.
Yeah, because my girlfriend's a Bengals fan too.
Like they have no choice,
dude. It's a trap.
It's like just being like, should we bring a child into this world? Is it worth it?
No. Nah. Okay, we can
uh,
move on. The Chiefs are looking
so
up.
I will speed it up and I'll do two things at once for my wrongs. Uh, because it's two teams that there's still a lot to be seen, but it's not seeing more out of Jacksonville and seeing too much out of New England. Those are the two, my second and third things that I consider myself wrong about. If you remember, I was really close to picking Jacksonville to win the AFC South,
Yeah,
and I just wasn't able to pull the trigger. And I'm kind of just punching myself for that because I think that because I have believed and have still held faith that Trevor Lawrence can be a competent quarterback. Liam Cohen is a good head coach, and that defense can be adequate, and they've been more than adequate this season. In fact, for most of their games, that defense has been the better
yeah,
side of the ball.
yeah,
And so, yeah, just in general, being down on Jacksonville or down-ish is something that I'm upset at myself for.
yeah, yeah.
And then, oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
go for it. No, go for it. I was just gonna say this actually kind of relates to something that I was right about.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to hear.
Yeah, go
Uh,
for it.
the the other thing is just on the flip side of that in the AFC playoff picture, New England starting out hot. Part of that was because I believed with how weak their schedule was starting out that they could be a 3-1, if not maybe a 4-0. I was always curious about the Steelers game when I was doing my season, like going through their schedule
Yeah,
specifically. But I'm going to remove the Carolina Panthers game out of the equation because the Carolina Panthers just or do
yeah.
weird things where it's like I can't judge any team in either direction based on how they play versus the Carolina Panthers.
Literally.
Um,
True.
yeah. And so it's looked discoordinated. It hasn't, and maybe I was expecting too highly out of them. So to be clear, I'm not suddenly reversing on my long-term projection of New England, but it hasn't looked as much like a Vrabel team as I thought it might look instantaneously, which is more so on me than on Mike Vrabel, to be
Yes.
clear. But New England, it's looking more and more by the day that this will be a team clawing to get to like 8-9 and not, being 9-8, slipping into the playoff.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Um, I don't really have much to say to that. I think you are right about what you're wrong about. The last thing that I was right about is Liam Cohen, and that's why it really directly correlates to what you were saying with the Jaguars. Which it's funny because this is one of those things where I was right, but I was wrong about how right I would be. If that makes sense. I was
Yeah.
right because I had full faith that Liam Cohen is the head coach that can turn around a franchise. What I didn't expect is for the Jaguars to look as good as they did as a team, as a culture
Yes.
coming out the gate. Um, Obviously, I think that his offensive scheme has looked great. I think that the Jaguars' troubles has just been in executing it. I think it looked way better last week versus San Francisco. The defense, obviously, they have the pieces. The defensive scheme has looked great. The biggest thing, though, is that Chargers team looks revitalized. And that's what I'll say. That and it's funny because I was hyping up Liam Cohen because I did think you know, like the biggest thing I was hyping him up about was his offensive scheme. I thought he was an incredible offensive mind and that he had all the makings to call the plays of a team or an offense that could be a top offense within the NFL if they have the right roster. This is kind of where it's like, yes, I'm right, but I'm also kind of wrong because I didn't inherently put my stake a claim in the fact that I think he'd be able to change the culture so quickly. I thought he could. I thought it would take a few years. It's completely different. Like just watching Jaguars games from last year to this year, watching
Oh,
him,
yeah.
dude, the clip of him going up to Robert Saleh and being like, "Get your name out my mouth," was so epic. I just think that It's really like all of the
He
things that you thought that Vrabel would do for the Patriots, Liam Cohen is doing for the Jaguars.
Liam Cohen, once again, is continuing the trend of coaches
Yeah.
being kind of awesome after having really awkward and weird opening press conferences.
Literally.
Like,
Literally.
it's a disconcerting, like, you're almost watching your opening press. If you're a fan of a team hiring a new head coach, you're like, I hope they say something like really weird in the press conference.
Literally. No, yeah, the Jaguars, man. And again, like I'm still I don't know. My feelings about them as a whole for this season are not made up, but I truly believe that their future is bright, and I think that the first few weeks of the season has proven that take, me staking a claim in Liam Cohen, right? Like for the first like 4 episodes of this podcast that we had, I mentioned Liam Cohen every time just for the love of the game. It was
Yeah.
unrelated to the topic at hand. It was just like, oh, well, let me tell you about Liam Cohen though, just out of nowhere. So like, like I was right to stake a claim in Liam Cohen because he's been
Yes,
incredible.
you were. My very last thing that I'm right about. This one's interesting, but I'm sneakily kind of the most proud of it. Uh, the NFC West bloodbath.
Yeah.
The NFC West has 3 teams that are 3-1. The only other division that has even 2 teams that have 3 wins is, ironically enough, the AFC South. It's just because teams have been beating up on the Titans. And I've been talking about this for a really long time. The NFC West winner is not going to have more than 11 wins, and the last place team in the NFC West might have 8 wins. Like, it would be this division is so clustered together in terms of talent, and will continue to be in a record as well,
Yeah.
that I mean, it's going to be something where
You called it too.
there might be 3 teams that are viable to win the division in week 18.
Well, and what's funny about it is if you basically what it is that they have 4 wild card caliber teams.
Yes.
Is what they have. Like they have 4 teams that in any individual given season would be a great wild card team, and then depending on certain circumstances related to Stafford's health, could you know obviously I think the Rams on paper in terms of coaching are like the favorites in that, but no, like you're right.
Yes.
Like that is it is a bloodbath, and it's the yeah. I mean, it happened last year with like the whatever like the 3 like the tiebreaker that like went down like 3 levels to put the
Yeah.
Rams in the playoffs or whatever. But
No, it was weird then, but this is something where there may not be a division in football where a divisional game matters more than it does than an
100%.
NFC West.
Yeah.
100%. And
Yeah,
so
100%
yeah,
true.
big deal. That if you have NFL Game Pass and you were like, what's on this slate, and your team isn't playing, if there's an NFC West divisional game happening, tune in, because that is
Yeah.
impactful, meaningful football.
Speaking of which, I believe that's our last one. Let's get into the predictions because Thursday night football is San Francisco versus the LA Rams.
You liked that transition?
When I was the one who did it.
Well, I know, but I was setting it up. Duh.
Yeah, you like that?
Take credit
It's
for
like,
that. Take credit for
I
that.
am taking credit for that.
I literally spelled it out, and you were like, "Speaking of."
Yeah, shut up, dude. I freaking nailed it.
Yeah, so we're tied. So this week matters. 44 points each.
You could say about as it matters about as much as week 1. Because we were also tied.
Yes.
Where are you going? San Francisco, LA Rams.
It's
Where you going?
at LA. I'm going LA.
I'm
keeping
going
it
LA.
simple. Yeah. Minnesota at Cleveland.
This one's tough, dude. This is a hard one for me.
It is weirdly tough, but I went Minnesota pretty confidently.
Okay, the thing is, it's at Cleveland. Carson Wentz.
But also Dylan Gabriel.
Oh, you're right. All right, I'm going Minnesota. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Give me Minnesota. Have you seen that clip of Biden? Minnesota.
Oh, that's a classic. That's a classic.
Alrighty.
Las Vegas at Indianapolis.
Yes. Las Vegas at Indianapolis. I got the Colts.
I also have the Colts, but I don't
Although,
feel great about it.
can I say something real quick?
Yes.
Ashton Genty, dog, right? I've been talking about how, all of the critics of Ashton Genty need to look at the advanced stats and understand how those work, because the offensive line has been doing him no favors. He currently is second in the league with yards after contact. And last week, everything came together and he showed why he is such an incredible prospect.
No, I know that they ended up losing, but I am taking a bit of a moral victory in that Vegas versus Chicago game. Vegas looked like I thought that they would look.
Yeah.
So, yeah, small cake, but still. New York at New Orleans, New York Giants.
All hail the New York Giants. Give me New York. Which, nothing. Never mind.
I was gonna say, all right, you weren't about to break this.
No, I'm just
sacred rule.
No, I'm just looking at like the schedule, and it's just funny how it says New York Giants just because they're in New Jersey, but whatever.
Well, yeah, but
I guess their logo is an NY, so.
To be clear, I don't know if I said it. I am also taking the Giants. Continuing the trend. I will not pick the Saints to win a single game this season. Dallas at the New York Jets.
There's a part of me that kind of wants to say that the Jets are gonna like make a bounce back. I don't know,
get their first win of the season. Yeah,
yeah, but not a big part of me. I'm taking the Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, all of a sudden, Sauce Gardner doesn't have to be like, he can somewhat float around because he won't have to deal with CD the whole game. But I'm still just going to take the offensive talent of Dallas because even with his,
which we have to talk about that, right? Like Dak Prescott, hats off to you. Right, you looked
as
incredible.
I've been saying. Look, even without CD Lamb, I was always in and have consistently been in on Dallas's offense.
Yeah, like I thought, I was really impressed. I really was against and that's something that maybe I don't know. Like let's just take a pause real quick because that was a big deal. The tie, Cowboys Packers. How does that impact how you feel about the Packers?
Weird, but at the same time, it's a Dallas Green Bay game. There's a rivalry there. There was extra layers at that was almost like the best way that I could describe that was like a NFL sideshow where it's like I don't even know if I could consider it canon. Like that game was almost like fan fiction to the NFL season. Like I can't make that many judgments specifically on the Packers side. I am worried about the defense, but at the same time, I think better talent will prevail for them throughout most of the games of their season. I still think that they're extremely viable to win the North.
I'm with you. Alrighty. Next game, Broncos at Eagles. EAGLES, Eagles.
I can't even let the Eagles. Well, this game sucks for me because I hate both of these teams. But yeah, the Philly isn't going to lose their first game of the season to the Broncos.
Nope. Alrighty. Titans at Cardinals. I'll take
Titans at Cardinals.
This is a tough one, but I think I'm going to go with Arizona.
I'm really struggling here, but yeah. Oh my goodness. Which means that assuming Arizona wins that game, all 4 teams in the NFC West are guaranteed to be above 500.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Miami at Carolina. Oh, do it to him. Oh, do it to him.
I think I'm gonna pick Carolina.
I'm also picking Carolina.
Dude, we're such haters. I'll take it a step further. I wouldn't be entirely shocked if Carolina wins this game and Mike McDaniels gets fired afterwards.
You're picking this. Wait, oh man. I'm looking up the Miami slate to see if there's another game in the future.
This just feels like that type of game. Embarrassing loss. Bryce Young comes back. Tyreek Hill is out for the season.
I feel like if it was going to happen, because then they have the Chargers, they lose that, and then they have the Browns. If they lose to the Browns in week 7,
yeah,
that might be where it would happen. But it's not off the table that it
I don't know.
happens this week.
I'm getting
I
that
love
feeling.
I love that we're predicting this.
Yeah.
But yes, I am picking Carolina.
All right, what's next?
Houston at Baltimore in a game where Houston is favored.
Yeah, they're favored, but also Lamar Jackson isn't playing.
I don't think that's guaranteed he's not playing.
I thought it was. I'm pretty sure he's out for 2 to 3 weeks. Let me look it up real quick.
I think that the last I heard it was like a pretty rough questionable. I don't think it's come out that he's like confirmed out for weeks.
So this is from 11 hours ago. Lamar Jackson reportedly unlikely to play against Texans.
Unlikely. Okay.
So, but then this is from 9 hours ago. It says Ravens star QB considering hasty return. So that's about as clear as mud.
I still feel like Baltimore wins.
No, me too. I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going Baltimore here. A hesitant Baltimore, hesitant if Lamar Jackson doesn't play, which should tell you something about where we're at on Houston.
Dude, Cooper Rush.
The coop. The chicken's out of the coop.
Dude, holy crap! Cockle-doodle-doo! That's what all the fans need to say.
No, they don't.
Are we creating like fandom for Ravens fans? No, the Ravens out of the coop. We're geniuses. And then they'll say, "Caca."
Is that what they'll say?
Yeah. If they're a respectable fan base.
If they were gentlemen and scholars.
Oh my gosh.
Tampa Bay at Seattle.
Okay, so I'm taking Tampa Bay, and this is my upset alert.
Oh, what's
Seattle's favored -3.
You're kidding.
I know, it's the same thing that happened with the Texans.
I'm gonna hurt you in a way that's not even. I'm going to ban you from picking. What is Vegas on? I didn't even see that.
Why aren't you paying attention? It happened
Seattle's
again.
A field goal favorite against my glorious king Baker Mayfield.
That's what I'm saying, dude. I have no idea. But yeah, they're. I'm looking at FanDuel right now. -3 versus Seattle's favored -3 points.
Was Baker Mayfield like shot and killed moments ago in Tampa, or is that what the line is reacting to?
I feel like there was something
outside of Baker Mayfield getting shot and killed. I don't think that the line should be 3.
One second.
That's insane. I'm pissed at you.
Dude, shut up. Yeah, he's going to play. I don't know why, dude. I just, why are you pissed at me? Like, we're looking at the same list of games.
I'm ultimately pissed at Vegas. I'm ultimately pissed at
yourself.
Vegas. Well,
that's
fair.
what you should be pissed at. Like, just freaking look at the line.
let's just move on. Detroit at
Wait,
Cincinnati.
are you picking Tampa Bay too?
Oh yeah, I'm picking Tampa Bay.
Cool. Dude, so I'm actually going to be at this game. I'm picking Detroit.
Oh, that's so sad.
I
That's
know.
so sad. I'm so sorry for
It's
you.
okay. It's all right, man. It'll be fun to see Paul Brown Stadium for the first time. You know, what any real Bengals fan, the first time they go to Paul Brown Stadium should be watching a massacre of their team.
That's so sad.
That's just how it is, man. It's okay.
That legitimately made me feel bad for generations of Bengals fans.
You should. It's the worst. It's the worst.
Well,
Dude, and
let's
you
move
should
on.
oh my gosh, I can't
Oh, go ahead.
imagine watching my dad watch that Reds game last night versus the the Dodgers. He must have been so upset.
I mean, the Dodgers are just a force,
I
brother.
know, but it's like that's the
But
only hope
still,
that the city of Cincinnati has.
yeah. Well, the open first pitch was like 20 minutes ago for their season, so
And the
hope
Reds
he's
are
enjoying
already
it.
down by three runs.
Are you serious?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. I thought you were being. I mean, they very well could be.
I would not be shocked.
Washington at the LA Chargers.
No, the Reds are up 2-0. Shout out to my dad.
Oh, shout out to the Reds.
Friends of the show. Okay, sorry, what game?
Washington at LA.
Ooh, this is tough. What are your thoughts?
Um, I'm going LA. I'm relatively confident here. I even with Joe Alt being out, I don't see the Washington pass rush having a massive impact on this game, and I'm a bit questionable. I need to see some stuff out of Washington before
Yeah,
I can
and this is Jaden Daniels'
pick them in a
first week
spot like
back.
this.
This is his first week back. This is a
I'm
tough game to
aware.
come back in. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think I'm with you. I was kind of leaning Chargers. That kind of your analysis kind of led me there.
Okay. New England at Buffalo.
Why does the Bills have such an easy schedule other than the Ravens game? They've
It'll
played
pick up.
Miami, Browns. No, they haven't. Saints, Patriots, whatever. I'm picking the No, I'm picking the Bills.
I am picking the Bills as well, but this is my upset alert to cover the spread. The
What
spread
is the
that
spread? Is it like a million?
no, but it's 7.5. And so it's more
Oh,
than a touchdown.
I
And so,
I'm seeing 8.5
okay.
on FanDuel
Well,
right now. Do you want to go
I,
with 8.5? I'm okay with that.
sure. Why not? I'll up it to 8.5. So
Just
yeah,
because
I think
that's this when you're officially picking it, that's what the spread is.
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, New England will lose, but not by more than one possession, basically.
Yeah, I like it. I don't think that's crazy.
No, I think a divisional game against a team that is semi-competent. I think that a spread, especially even of 8.5, more than 7.5, is a bit rich for me. I will take the
Yeah,
Patriots to cover. And then
yeah,
the last
absolutely.
game, Monday Night Football, Kansas City at Jacksonville.
This is gonna be fun, dude. I
Very
mean, I
fun
have the
game.
Chiefs still, but I still
I have
think it'll be a good game.
I have the Chiefs as well. I'm already worried about the takes that are going to be happening where like because objectively, given the state of where the Ravens were, especially starting in the late first half, second half, the state of that defense in terms of injuries, Jacksonville's defense is going to be better than Baltimore's. And so
Yeah,
when KC, if they only put up 28 points instead of like 35, 38, then I can hear some weird analysis coming in of like, oh, the Chiefs offense was a mirage against the Ravens. So I'm not excited for that. I'm just predicting that take being out there. But I think the Chiefs win. My guess is it's something where it's like a 2 touchdown game, somewhere in the late third quarter, early fourth quarter, and then Jacksonville puts together a drive and it ends up being like a one possession game, but the Chiefs were in the driver's seat for the
That's
majority of
exactly
it.
I was literally just
Yeah.
about to say that. Like, I feel like this is gonna be one of those games where it's like the box score might make it look closer than it really felt. That being
Yes.
said, I think that this is a really good test for Jacksonville. Like, honestly, I'm more excited to see how Jacksonville responds to this
I'm also
than
just excited to see Travis Hunter in primetime.
yeah, which I don't know. I feel like we've done a good job of like sidestepping what the media thinks is important and just talking about what actually is important, which is what we think is important. So like
Yes.
obviously the Shador Sanders stuff, like who cares?
Who
Um,
cares?
Travis Hunter, though, really interesting. I feel like we can talk about that a little bit, though. People are just so extreme on their opinions. It's like either like he should play both sides all the time, or he should only play on one side, or he should never play football again. And it's like, well, let's let's chill out a little bit. Like he's still good. He's a rookie. I don't care if he's a
Yeah.
third or the third overall
And he's
pick.
also
Like he's a
he's made
rookie.
some plays this season, more so on
Yes.
offense. But so yeah, that's why I'm saying I'm excited to see him in primetime. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I think
Beginning to
it'll be good.
end, see what type of impact he can have on a game. But those are our predictions. I will be winning by probably 15 points
That's
next
not even
week.
possible.
No, it is not.
But I will be winning by 15 points. Because it is possible. No. But yeah, dude, I'm so excited about the Buccaneers game. If Seattle wins, I'm gonna commit arson.
That's a fun crime. I like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, Adam, which players' highlights should the folks at home watch?
Wait. Remember how I went to Florida? I've been holding this in because I just keep forgetting to tell you. I was on the flight to Florida with Donna Kelsey.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because apparently she has like a condo in Orlando, and she was coming home from the Eagles Chiefs game on
That's
Southwest.
Awesome. She's a woman of the people. She's a Midwestern
That's what
queen.
I'm saying, dude. That's what I'm saying.
We'd love
But
Mama
no,
Kelsey.
But no, yeah, I was like, is that? She was literally like across from me, practically. She was like,
That's awesome.
but whatever.
Did you stare at her?
The whole flight. Just.
Just complete dead eye, like you looking like you just had a lobotomy.
Anyway, player, I think it's your turn. I said Jay Cutler last week. Who's
Oh, that's right. You
player
did say Jay
watch?
Cutler. You should watch. Simply because I'll give him his flowers, and you're probably not going to see a lot of them this season. So go back and enjoy the good times. Jamar Chase. Go watch Jamar Chase highlights.
Well, that's
And on that note, as Adam is really depressed, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. If you didn't, also like and subscribe.
And tell us why you didn't like it, and we'll tell you why you're stupid.
It's true. Peace.